We are live. Welcome everybody from Europe that is watching this. And as usual, I love Google, but me and technology and things are always changing. But the good news is, for those of you that see who I'm with, no, it's not Curtis yet. He's going to get on momentarily. But I have Ronnie Bincer. He is the Google Hangout helper and our secret weapon on this team, because Hangouts are just an amazing, amazing tool to use with our direct selling space. But everybody always wonders why the ones we do are so good and that nobody else really knows how to work this stuff. And that's because we have the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain showing us what to do, and that's Ronnie. So Ronnie, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everyone out there. Hangouts are magical in my mind. I know it's a little tricky when you first start using it, but once you get in, man, it is good stuff.
And folks, actually, Ronnie, this is actually going on for Europeans. And nobody is here, so I don't know that this is working well.
Well, Curtis is wanting to get invited, so maybe you can invite him in again. Let me see if I can
invite Curtis again, but Curtis needs to go show these people how to get on, because the link that they were hitting that on is working, but they all got there earlier than we did, and they think it doesn't work.
Oh.
So
well, that's because we weren't ready yet.
Yeah, well, he set it up, and I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
Curtis, you need to let them know on Skype that link works, because we're talking to ourselves on air, no less. So this is such fun.
Yeah, we are being broadcast live.
Yes, we're broadcasting live, and we are talking to no one. So I suppose I better get back on Skype and tell them to use the link again.
Okay, and when you say the link, I'm assuming that Curtis or someone sent that link.
I must have invited them, that the event sent them the link back to the event page.
The event, when it invited the people, sent them a link. Sure.
Yeah, that's the link there, because when
but everybody's talking about maybe an email, and if there was
the email that would have gone to their Gmail when they were invited. When I clicked on the one she told me that wasn't working, it brought up the page, so it does work. I just need to tell her to click it again.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and you might, if you're Skyping people or telling people, you might tell them they need to refresh the page.
Saying it says that it will start in a few minutes. So why is that happening?
Because they need to refresh the page.
Okay, refresh the page, and it will. You will. Okay, you will.
So Lisa.
Okay, all I want to get is one. Oh, we have a viewer. It's working.
All right, Lisa.
Okay, somebody is watching. Hello. If you're watching and you have other people that you've invited to this event, please go ahead and tell them to click on the link on the event page or in the email or whatever, the email from Gmail or whatever showed up on your profile page that when you were invited, because it now works. And if they're already sitting at the event page and are seeing it will start in a few minutes, tell them to please go ahead and refresh the page, and they'll be fine.
You bet. Now, do me a favor, Lisa. On the upper, right in the very top, you should have the link to this Hangout itself. Can you copy that, the URL for the Hangout you're in?
I will.
And then
folks,
paste it for me in the chat so I can help Curtis get in.
All right, and folks, I just got a thing on Skype asking if this was being recorded, and in fact it is.
Yes.
Looks like he's here, but I'm pasting it anyway.
Okay, that'll be good backup. Thank you.
All right, for those of you that just joined us, this is a Hangout for the European team, and we put it private, not to the public. We may never do that again, because what we've realized, and technology is forever changing, is that in this format you can't comment. But since you all be in a Skype group, I guess I'll be watching what you're telling me on Skype and speaking back to you, which is totally not necessary with Google Plus when you do it correctly. But let me start over and tell you that our secret weapon, and the reason this all works so well, is because we have the Hangout helper. His name is Ronnie Bincer, and he has been helping Curtis and I, the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, which is why we've been able to help so many groups across the internet marketing space and the direct selling space use Hangouts effectively. You wouldn't know it by this one, but compared to what everybody else is doing out there, we really are on top of our game, which means you only have to be one day ahead of those that are following you. But what we're here today to do is to talk to you all about Rippln. And since you can't comment right directly here, if you'll tell me on Skype exactly what you want to know, we'll go ahead and share with you. But for now, Boris was supposed to invite everybody in, and hopefully he did. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Curtis, and he's going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the field with Rippln. Europe is wide open at the moment, and then I'm going to share a little bit of perspective of what the model is in terms that I think everybody should be able to follow. So without any further ado, Curtis, I'm going to turn over the floor to you.
Curtis, you're muted. I muted you because you were making too much noise. Now you're good.
Well, see, I mean, that's typically the case. That's what we actually get paid to do here, is try and see how much noise we can make. So first of all, good to see you, brother. Glad to have you. In fact, I'm going to do some things as we kind of keep going. I'm going to get some lower third stuff going on. I want to thank everybody. This is we're going to have a good time in this half-hour session. We can run a little bit long. In fact, what we'll do is we'll go and get to all the key points of information as quickly as possible. And then, if we need to stick around a little bit, we can keep this open for a little bit beyond. And for those who continue to want to through Skype or whatever, I'm going to make sure I turn off my phone so it doesn't make any noise or bother us. For those who want to, we'll still keep answering questions and engaging and that kind of stuff. So let me. I'm going to do something here real quick, and I'm going to get it set up so that people are coming in right now. And
so let me just sort of, we'll make it a teachable moment. This wonderful tool we're in called a Hangout or Hangout on Air is allowing us to communicate in incredibly valuable ways, but sometimes you don't know who we are that's talking. And so what we're doing is we're putting in things, self-identifiers down here that allows you, while we're talking, to have a clue who I am or who Curtis is and where he's from, because he put the flag up there. Look at that.
Exactly. So again, want to thank, in fact, I'm going to turn it off for just a second. There's something else I'm going to do to make it easier for everybody, because what we're really talking about starts around an address where you're going to have an opportunity. Whomever invited you is going to be able to, if you have not already done so, they're going to be able to provide you an access to a site called startmyripple.com. The detailed information, or more detailed information right now, is available only under NDA. And so what we're going to do is we're going to give you a broad overview. We know that many of you are going to be seeing this for the first time. Someone who you have a great relationship with and a lot of trust and respect for has invited you to take a look at something. And we're here to kind of give it a better feel. Many of you are already a part of the Rippln, you're already a part of the global Ripple. And in some cases, like some folks I spoke to in South America yesterday, they're already a part of it. They're still not sure what they're a part of, because again, the influence or the strength of relationship that invited them was so strong, they said, whatever you say to do, I'll do. So we're going to try and clear up some of those things and help you through that process. And here's where it starts. There are some driving forces in the global marketplace today. One, everything is going mobile. Everything is moving to mobile engagement. Everything is moving to this platform. We saw it in iPads. They were cool because they were small, except now it's the iPad 2 and they're smaller. The Samsung came out with the Note, except now the Note 2 is smaller. And even iPhones, as great as they are, Samsung now outsells them in number of units with the S3 and S4, which are a little bit bigger. They're finding the perfect real estate. So we're all communicating globally. Some of the things that are exploding globally that are going viral are communication apps, because all of us have a fundamental powerhouse need. As human beings, we want to communicate. And now we've been communicating globally via text, but now there are things like Voxer. Voxer is one of the most viral growing apps because I don't have to type. I just touch you as my contact, press a button, and leave the voice message. Over 80 to 90%, almost 90% of all human communication is in short 8 to 10 second bursts. So we can communicate further, faster, simpler, and more easily. And the reason things like this go viral is because they satisfy that experience. Now, we're still not talking about the business model yet, and I'm going to let Lisa touch on that in a second, because we're taking some things that are happening in the market that are unavoidable, and then we saw ways that if you could leverage those and put them together properly, you could literally start to create a business model that was exceptional. And one of the last things is this: things like Facebook, things like Twitter, things like Instagram or Pinterest. They've gone viral for two reasons. One, they're free. Two, they fulfill that basic human need to communicate as well, just different mediums. Facebook, we can show everything about ourselves, but it's that person, but it's a communication medium. Instagram, communication medium. Twitter, a communication medium. But here's the thing, who are we communicating with? We experience it, it's emotionally a powerful communication experience, and we tell everybody who is closest to us. Facebook and all those things weren't created, it wasn't spread by marketers marketing about Facebook. They may market to Facebook or use Facebook to market, but the creation of Facebook and Twitter were people who experienced a great new form of communication and told those they cared about the most. Those are absolute trends. And Rippln has a next generation communication app that will launch at the end of May, beginning of June. Download it for free on your phone. And it is going to go viral worldwide because it's that next stage. It's taking some of the best capabilities that exist, putting them together in the most advanced total communication tool. People will be removing, Lisa and I have talked about it, we'll be removing WhatsApp, we'll be removing Viber, Voxer, we'll remove it all and go with the Rippln communicator because it fulfills the need globally. Someone between Tokyo and St. Petersburg, Russia, between Frankfurt, Germany and Miami, Florida, from parents to children, grandparents to grandkids, business colleagues, people who are in the same community organization, churches, synagogues, whatever it may be, people will be able to communicate with those that they care most about in one of the most powerful ways that's yet been seen to date. And it is free. But what's the difference? Facebook, Twitter, those are just platforms. We created the value. If we hadn't put our content, if we hadn't created our friends, they'd be worth nothing. There would be no Facebook if there weren't the friends. There would be no Twitter if somebody wasn't tweeting. There would be no Instagram if we hadn't put in all our photos to share. We created the value, and the people who created the platforms are worth billions. Rippln was a group of people coming together and said there's a whole new wave. It's the crowd wave. We've seen it with things called crowdsourcing, where you let the masses participate. You have a need, throw it out there, crowdsource it, and people from all over will say, I can help you do that. Crowdfunding. You need some money, you've got a great concept, throw it out there. People donate $5, $10, $50. You create this massive response. The idea was if the crowd creates the value, why don't you share the value? Incentivize sharing. The magic of the Rippln environment is the tool is free. The world will want it. It will go viral, but you can only get it by invitation. And when you get it by invitation, you can track exactly who was responsible for you being there. Everyone can connect the communication technology because we want to communicate with everyone. But it will track specifically who was the person that influenced you the most to say, here's my invitation, and let's go ahead and join us. And why is that important? There are some other forces coming together, and Lisa's one of the best I've seen as she talks to people about the real power of what Rippln is, and let her just share with you the long-term vision or some things that this means by putting all this together. So Lisa, let me throw it to you for a minute to share some of your thoughts.
Okay, Curtis, go ahead and look at the Skype at their questions.
Yep.
Some of these questions, let me be real clear about what's going on right now, and so that everybody understands this when they watch it, because there's a lot of craziness going on out there because we have chosen the tried and true method of direct sales, network marketing, relationship marketing, combined with, I suppose, internet marketers coming on board to effectively build the next Voxer. And if you're in a different part of the world, you can say that's WeChat, you can say whatever one of it is that you want to. But that's essentially what's here. That's the job, and that's what we're all brought together to do. And of course, because we come from the world where everyone wants to know everything, everybody's not happy with the information that's been released to date. But there's a method to the madness, and there's a reason. And let me start with that and work backwards from there and then go forward. We're building a communication app. A communication app that we want to have great value for you, for me, for the company, for everyone, so we can all win together. If we were building a social network online, I would say that we want to build Facebook, not MySpace. MySpace has a big list of names where nobody's talking to anybody, therefore the value is non-existent. So when we set this out, the reason this has been released the way that it is first and foremost, unlike anything you've ever done before in network marketing, this is truly about the acquisition of eyeballs. What everybody has figured out is the value is not in the technology. Technology is forever changing. The value is in the audience, but it's in the values in an audience that's listening. So we're not out there talking about the comp plan, although Curtis will address it because you want to know about it. And we're not out there talking about how incredibly tremendous the app is going to be, because network marketers have a tendency to embellish the story. I myself in my career have taken a speck of sand and made it the French Riviera. That's not what it's about. The product, when it was released, will be competitive, because the first tech team was told to make something that is competitive with what's on the market. That's all it needs to be, because Voxer doesn't pay me and they don't pay you. And what we're going out, we're going to make this the cool place to talk. The tech teams that are working on version 2 and 3, or 3 and 2, depending on who gets finished first, are working on the Star Trek stuff. And it's fantastic and phenomenal. And it's being developed by technology guys who never hit a deadline in their lives. They don't even know what a calendar is. That's why replication is simple, gets us into the marketplace, and all the great stuff will be coming. Here's essentially what we're doing, and I want to put the model in perspective, and then we'll explain to you how you get paid. If I lost my phone today, no, forget that. If I changed my phone number today, the people that I would go out and I would tell I changed my phone number would be all the people in my phone. These are the people I communicate with on a daily basis. Or perhaps, if I was advanced like Ronnie, all the people that were in my inner circle that I was hanging out with all the time. What I wouldn't do is go out on Facebook and ask the whole world who wants my phone number before I give it to my mother. So first and foremost, this is about who you are already communicating with, not who you want to do business with, because while we may get hundreds of thousands of people that see the wisdom of participating in a monetization of this and make a lot of money, we're looking to put hundreds of millions of people on the platform. So let me now take you forward by going back in history. Once upon a time, Yahoo and MSN, both pretty substantial companies, gave out free emails. Seemed like a great idea. I thought it was a great idea. All my friends thought it was a great idea, because we promptly went and got email addresses that we never intended to use. So whenever we signed up online and we didn't want junk coming into our real email, we'd use one of those addresses. I must have 300 of them out there. Let me tell you, if the cure for cancer has been discovered and somebody mailed it to one of my Yahoo accounts, I will never know. Haven't been there in 5 years. A few years later, another substantial company in the marketplace, but by the name of Google, decided that they were going to go into the free email business. But they decided that they actually wanted people to be using their email. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. So what they did was they went out and they built the buzz that they were coming out with the coolest, the most incredible email. It was so cool, and it was so convenient because you could access it from anywhere, not just your home computer, that you were one day going to want to give up the email you paid for with your ISP and only use Gmail. And it was a great story. And they went and they found Google lovers, early adopters to Google, people that were in the Google world, and said, we're going to invite you to use this Gmail account. And we're going to give you 2 to 5 invitations, and we want you to invite people that what? You're already exchanging email with. And if you're successful in bringing people onto our platform, we're going to give you some more invitations and some more invitations. And it got to the point where people were on eBay auctioning off Gmail addresses for $50 because people wanted them so badly. And it's a model that Google has used over and over again with different products that they've introduced. They used that model for 2 years. For 2 years, the only way to get on Gmail was through an invitation. And I know this because I got the invitation when it was Google Mail before they bought the Gmail domain. Now, it really, when Google did that, it was very smart, but it wasn't really about email. What Google was giving you was a passport to the Google world. They didn't know what it was going to look like back then, so we didn't know what it was going to look like back then. What they did know is whatever they did with it, if they were effective in making you use their communication platform, which was Gmail, they'd know where to find you to let you know. And today, a Gmail account is the passport to the Googleverse, this Hangout that we're on. If you have an Android phone, Google Maps, Google Apps, Google Docs, Picasa, and 100 other products that I don't know are all accessible to me through a Gmail address. It takes me everywhere. This app that we're going to introduce in 7 weeks is nothing more than a 21st century version of the Gmail address. And that's why it's an invite only, and that's why it's limited, and that's why we give you 5, and when they're accepted, we give you 5 more. Because we don't want just a bunch of names on a list. We want people that are excited to get the app, to be early adopters, that are going to talk to each other. So the first people you want to go to very quickly, get your invitations out with people that you're talking to on the phone. They'll accept them right away. Get 5 more out, and teach people to do the same, is the people that you are talking to, because that's how something goes viral. Not just, isn't this a cool idea, we're all going to make money, but isn't this a cool thing we can all talk on? So that's what the app is. That's part one. Let me tell you another story. Guy by the name of Jeff Bezos one day says, hey, I want to go sell stuff on the internet, which was an ambitious task at the time, because the only thing that was really selling well on the internet back then was pornography. And there was a reason for that. People were reluctant to share information. They didn't trust the products they saw pictures of. They figured they couldn't touch them, they couldn't taste them, they couldn't see them. Were they real? But books, they kind of gave the benefit of the doubt that the book they saw in the bookstore is what would end up at their house. So he went out and sold books. But Amazon.com was never about books any more than Google giving away email accounts was about email. What Jeff Bezos understood was that people, you could learn a lot about people based on their reading habits. That what the books they chose. He also learned that people were willing to go up online and review books and talk to each other about books. And other than the geeky stuff that was going on in Usenet groups, Amazon.com was the first platform where social engagement took place between regular people like you and me. And people loved it so much that one day when he started sending out surveys, nobody ever stopped to say, I wonder why Amazon needs to know my annual income in order to sell me a book. I can afford the book. And they started answering all the questions that Amazon started asking them. Although up until then, nobody wanted to share personal information of any kind. And one day he found himself with the best demographic database on the web. And not, up until Facebook. And Facebook probably has more data, but they still don't know how to make money with it. And today, Amazon is the #1 retailer on the web, and they sell everything because it was about building the audience and building a relationship with the audience and building the brand, never about books. So once we've built the Rippln universe, which we are going to build with by giving people a great communication app where they're all talking to each other, the first products we're going to come out with are apps and games. Why? Because 80% of the downloads from all of the app stores are games, and because you can learn a lot about people based on their gaming habits and what type of apps they use, can't you? And it's a good place to gamify and survey and get information. So apps and games become nothing more than a 21st century version of the books. They're also digitally downloadable and available throughout the world. But once you built the audience, there's really nothing you can't sell, is there? And what you've got behind all of this is a team that you want to know about. So I've been working with them for a dozen years. It was the first team of individuals that got up one day, Star Trekkers, and said, we're going to take a single company, a single comp plan around the world in 30 months and open up 30 countries. Doesn't sound like much today. Every network marketing company is doing it. Back then, everybody said we were crazy. Nobody had ever done it. It took New Skin 15 years to open 40 countries, and you had to sign up in each country again as a distributor. They couldn't integrate the comp plans. But we did that. And in the process of doing that, software was developed that is integrated and multilingual in just about every market in the world. We have the ability to ship to the door in just about every market in the world, from Russia to China, and have been doing so effectively for over a decade. To $1 billion in tracks, over 1 million distributors, and over $1 billion in transactions, over $700 million in commissions paid, never missing a check with this platform. That is the team that is behind all this on the network marketing side. That is why you see so many leaders from network marketing and internet marketing and mobile marketing coming together in this concept, because they understand that if we can build the audience and we can get the audience communicating on the platform, that we have the ultimate ability to go communicate with them. So we want everybody in the Rippln, we want everybody using the app for free, and then those that decide they want to monetize that beyond playing a game, that's great. That's the model. That's why we'll know that it will work. That's why Curtis and I, although we make a lot of money in the business that we're currently in, and get to travel the world and be on stages a lot, and never thought we'd be doing what we're doing right now again, because I haven't done it in 12 years, are doing it because this is the future today. And there are a lot of great ideas out there. Probably 20 people have seen this idea in one format or another in their head in the last 5 years. But we all know that execution is where it counts. That's why Google's Google and AOL is something nobody talks about anymore. And this team is the team in network marketing that went global first, got into China and Russia first, delivering to the door on a global seamless comp plan, being able to take the money, deliver the product to the door, and pay everybody. So ultimately, it's a very simple process. Acquire a user for the app. And right now we're inviting people to be early adopters, everybody in your phone. Engage, get people engaged with the platform, keep them engaged on the platform, and then ultimately, what can you sell through the platform? And the answer is just about everything. Because this team can sell everything from digital products that can be delivered to the whole world, to regionalized products, to the why couldn't you do Groupon things? Why couldn't you do joint ventures with existing companies and give better deals and better discounts to the people on the platform? Because numbers of engaged users bring power. So that's why I'm really, really excited. That's the overview. Now Curtis can share with you some of the information about who is behind it, who is in front of it, and how you get paid doing it. Curtis, back to you.
There you go. And real quick, I want to say goodbye to Ronnie. Ronnie, great job. Wanted to have you. Ronnie's a part of the team that's helping us with what we're going to be doing in terms of executing these Hangouts on a more consistent basis, as well as we've got a team of people. We're building team sites right now, information sites. We've got some great tools for everything. But real quick, Ronnie actually has to depart right now. So
real quick,
why don't we'll talk about you after you've left.
We'll talk about you after you leave because he is the secret weapon. But Ronnie, thank you so much for being here today. You will see a lot more of Ronnie as we do these Hangouts, and he will be helping us and all of you in the future learn how to really effectively maximize this technology. Ronnie, thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to be the Hangout helper. We'll see you guys later.
All right, see you. Lisa, by the way, real quick, I just noticed, you might pull down your lower third real quick. It's actually because we were doing it so fast, it's actually MVP Team Ripple versus Team MVP.
Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry.
I've got it up there correctly, so that's okay. All right, gang, I've been sitting here watching the Skype chat, and we've been having some folks who have been sending in the questions that everybody has. So here we go. I think Lisa did a great job of an overview, and we'll be able to talk. We're going to be doing Hangouts that aren't just, short, brief, quick Hangouts like this. We're going to be doing 1 hour, 2 hour conversational discussions over the next week, 2 and 3 times a day, where we bring in top-end people from the corporate side, people from the field side, people from the marketing and the conceptual development side to talk about what's really happening. But let's now get to some of these questions. First of all, what is Rippln? Well, I think you've heard. Rippln is an invitation-only environment that will track worldwide through viral growth whose influence brought who to the environment. Why will they come? Because first and foremost, we're going to give them for free a communication app, just like WhatsApp or WeChat in Asia or Lime or Voxer. It's just an extremely high-end next-generation app. It's going to have multiple forms of communication, and there are some other capabilities that will be implemented over the next 3-4 months that are really going to set it apart. I mean, there's some extraordinary technology development groups bringing this whole thing together. So first and foremost, Rippln is a connected platform. You only get into the platform by invitation. The first service, if you will, or product will be a communicator that is delivered to you for free. Now the question is, how can you monetize that? And so we'll talk about that. But I'm looking at some of the questions. First of all, who's behind it? Lisa talked about it. When we say these were the first folks in China or Russia, obviously not the first there ever. These were the first people who, from an international basis, brought in complete, real-time, totally global and seamless, real-time, translated both transaction, currency, and development platforms on the scale that they did into some of those markets where they were delivering physical products at that time, over a decade ago. Since that time, a lot of these players have moved into the virtual side. In fact, the CEO of Rippln, Brian Underwood, has actually been the CEO of a company that it's from that company and that concept, this has evolved. A company based only in the US called iZig, which was a mobile texting platform. It's a mobile text marketing platform. And iZig itself has never gotten to be a large company. I think it's because in many ways mobile text marketing was almost ahead of its time, but they have some incredibly large clients, and some of their distributor base have had tremendous success deploying those mobile text marketing platforms. American Airlines is one of the customers. I mean, certain large numbers of large coordinated McDonald's franchisers. I mean, and then all the way down to small businesses that use the mobile text marketing platform, all distributed through a distributor network. And so the iZig company, though not large, because I think it was ahead of its time, is extremely profitable. I mean, it's a very, very profitable, high cash yield program. However, what they were able to do in that environment is over the last 3 years, develop some tremendous relationships with people from the traditional side of the mobile marketing world and seeing where all the mobile trends were going. As I started talking about, everything in the world is going mobile. It's where the trends are. And they've got some people who are a part of their, if you will, inner circle, their brain trust, okay? Some of the folks who created things like AdSense, when they invented that years ago, AdSense was then sold for hundreds of millions to Google and now is Google AdSense. I mean, these are individuals who, they're extraordinary in the things they've done and the impact they've made, who are part of this inner circle. The reason we don't mention some of these names is there is a huge collaboration group, and this is a private company. At some point, should anything change, maybe, but right now, Brian represents the face because he has been the face of the mobile movement. We're just going from a domestic-only U.S. operation with iZig to an absolute global operation with Rippln. The people behind the operation side, as Lisa said, this is the software foundation, the basic software foundation that is doing the tracking of invitation, that will be tracking the global Ripple relationship, if you will. Everyone that you personally invite to Rippln is on your first Ripple. Everyone they invite is the second Ripple. We know how those invitation tracking systems work. The tracking system that is the core foundational kernel of this whole thing is a tracking system that has been developed over the last decade. It's multilingual. It is currently in operation in over 40 or 45 countries around the world. It is a foundational software that multiple companies use. It was one of the first softwares to be multilingual, multi-currency, real-time transaction globally. As Lisa said, it has done I think it's up to $1.4, $1.5 billion of transactions. Actually, almost 3 million distributor enrollments now around the world. Literally 700 million in commissions. This was a software transaction platform that was originally built for a public company that at that time was a NASDAQ-traded public company. Rippln is a private company right now. But that public company, in order to maintain its public company requirements, this is a software kernel that had to go through ongoing audits by Pricewaterhouse, Deloitte Touche, audit firms worldwide, where every 3 months they're going through the audit scenarios, where all of the all the transaction mechanisms, all of the redundancies, all the accounting and admin controls, they had to meet SEC public company requirements. And so the software kernel that is the engine behind this is incredibly powerful and robust. And the development groups, now this is not on the communicator side. On the Rippln communicator, that's an app. App design and app development specialist, that's a whole different development group. In fact, there are actually 3 separate development groups that are separate apart from each other and don't even communicate to each other directly. There is a 4th development coordination group that plugs it together. That's to maintain the propriety and the security and the control over ensuring that the secrets don't get out, if you will. So there's one development group dealing with the Rippln communicator. Keep in mind, the Rippln communicator is like the worm on the hook. It's the cheese in the mousetrap. It's the tip of the iceberg. That free, incredibly high-value communication app technology is what attracts the masses. Remember where I started. What goes viral? The most viral applications are communication-oriented applications where the experience is great and everybody tells everybody. The number one purpose here is to use the Rippln communicator, which will be an incredibly powerful, robust, and high-value communication application that is free and will forever be free, to attract people. Because when people experience it, they will naturally, by human behavior, turn to their sphere of influence and say, you've got to download this, it's free, I'll send you an invitation. The communicator is the bait. It is what creates the value of this connected network. The software systems, which is a totally separate development group, this is a software kernel that over the last 10 years has developed some of the largest worldwide connected networks, and it's extremely powerful and robust. So you have two systems. The Rippln communicator is what everybody sees publicly, and it's really cool, and everybody wants it. It's like Gmail. It's like the coolest new thing to have, like Voxer or WeChat, WhatsApp. It's the cool new version of the thing to have, but you can only get it by invitation. The system that creates the invitation mechanism, the system that creates the unique invitation code, and the system that tracks which invitation Boris clicked on and whose invitation did he click, which invitation did Sarah, which invitation did I, which invitation did Lisa click on to become a part of the environment.
Curtis, let me make a
tracks
point.
That is one of the most robust systems in the world. So that's who's behind it.
Let me make a point there about the inviting system and what's going on and the craziness out there.
Yeah.
We have someone in our business. I think he's 5, 6 levels below. I don't know. We're actually doing a hangout for his team at 7. But anyway, I spoke with him this morning. He has broadcast to his list of 50,000 a couple of times. He's a top internet marketer, but he listened, and his group is growing very well. And he told me the 9 frontline that he has right now, and he's got a lot of other people because, like all of us, he's going through his address book. I have people that are friends. They don't know what I do to this day, and I've been doing it for 20 years. They're doing what I say, but will they do a business? I don't know. I want them talking on the app. But the 9 people that he has are all people that he knows personally that he has relationships with, although he's broadcast to his list multiple times, because most of the people on lists are on everybody's lists. But this person that they're actually going to communicate with is who they're responding to, which is why you're all having such success, because you're good networkers. So the internet marketers are very, very talented. I have great respect for them, but with a one-on-one invite and not having that personal relationship, it's been interesting to see how well the networking is going because it's driving the depth. And in this one, depth is key. And
but it's also really interesting to see how well the networking is working from non-networkers. Let me give you an example. I was on a call last night.
Oh, and Curtis, and then make sure you cover some pay plan because I'm getting...
No, we're going to talk about the pay plan, and we'll do that here real quick. But I want everybody, here's the thing. The pay plan is worth nothing, and you'll never make a dime if you don't understand how to build the network. And this is where people are going to make a mistake. This is entirely designed to create a virally explosive network. And if you don't understand this nuance, you will have some success in network growth over the next week or 2, and it will stop. It will die. It'll stop, and it won't work. So we'll get to the pay plan, but if you don't understand the proper mentality to expose the network, it'll stop. Because it is not about a free app that you make money because of. It is a free app that will allow you to communicate with the world in a way that will attract you to it and make you want to share it. Let me give you an example. Right now, 5% of the entire global connected network so far was started by a 21-year-old student at a university in Tennessee who has never done network marketing, has no internet marketing experience, has never done marketing at all. But he and his students live, he and all of his peers at 21, they live on apps. They live on communication texting. They live on voice communication now with Voxer. He knows nothing about pay plans. He knows nothing about how it works. And his connection sphere, his ripples, are growing at explosive light speed. 5% of the whole company is from a 21-year-old kid who doesn't know how to network. But he got all of his fellow university students, all their friends. They're now in 17 universities and exploding. They're now in 32 countries. And 5% of the entire connected network with internet marketers and network marketing professionals, a 21-year-old kid, because they don't understand the pay plan, they were just told, if you build the biggest connected network the fastest, over time you will make more money than everybody. And so I share that with you because now let's talk about how the monetization works, but it's important that people understand that. If you communicate the wrong message, you'll stop. I stood on a stage in Dallas last week when we exposed this initially, and I told everybody, this was not built for network marketers, and it wasn't. This was not built for internet marketers, and it was not. Network marketers and internet marketers who will shift their head because of their understanding of the power of connection will do great. If they don't make a shift, they'll fall squarely on their face, and 21-year-old kids will own the world of Rippln, and they'll make more money than anybody's ever dreamed. I said from the stage, My focus after I work through my relationships is to immediately focus on the university 18 to 24-year-old market. They will end up building bigger, faster ripples because they'll just do what they already naturally do. And as a result, here's the pay plan. Now I want to go back to Skype because I want to make sure we address all these things at the same time. So here are some of the questions that came back, and then we'll talk about the pay plan. Here it is. The way people make money is there are really three things that have value in the app space. Okay, there is an actual value for acquiring someone downloading an app. Let's forget Rippln for a minute. Let's go to the traditional app space. Right now, if you raise VC money to start an app company, part of your budget, a significant part of your budget, is not the programming to build the app. It's how are you going to get somebody to see it. Years ago, there were a few. Today, there are millions and millions of apps. On average, VC budgets are running $30 to $50 to $100 to $200. Now, some unique specialty apps are $500 and $600 of marketing expense per person that you get to download an app. That's how apps get found today. You build it, it gets accepted by iTunes or Google Play Store, and then you go spend massive money to create enough marketing impact that people start to download it. Otherwise, they never find you. As we all know, typically in connected marketing, where you've got connection and referral relationships that you can lay a compensation model on, what you normally do is take all those dollars they redirect to marketing and you pay, right? Right now in the app space, there is a value of anywhere from $50 to $200 that is typical for the initial acquisition of users of your app. The second value that app companies have is the way they value those companies is not just how many users do you have, how engaged are they? In other words, I got 450,000 people who have downloaded our app. Man, that's awesome. How many used it last month? 2. That's terrible. You have no value. It's not just downloading the app, it's engaging the app. In Rippln, as a communication app, it naturally engages people. But the second thing is we're going to gamify it. In a few months down the road, you'll see the next part of the strategic rollout is to gamify. Gamification creates points. So by just using the communicator, people get points in an account. By referring others, you get points in an account. By referring others who use the communicator, you get points in an account. All that's free. But why will people continue to aggressively and virally expand it? When we add the commerce sections, all the free users can use their points to pay for product. It's like the airline frequent flyer model, and we all understand it. Frequent flyer programs create massive amounts of loyalty because people then turn in their points for real dollar value. That's a part of the Rippln communicator and the Rippln environment. It's part of the psychology. So the viral explosion, we are going to reward people for building the network. But there are two types of reward. The type of reward are, do you just want to be a part of Rippln and you just want to gain points in your point account for playing the game of Rippln? Or would you like to also participate in the monetization? And if you're going to participate in the monetization, that's changing your role from just a free player who's having fun, or a free participant rather, and we use sports terms. When someone downloads the communication app via an invitation, so they're connected to the Rippln global invitation structure, but they're also a user of this free communication app, we call them a Rippln fan. A fan is a free participant. They're participating in the game. They're playing the game. However, some of those fans can choose to participate not by getting points for redeeming. They can also choose to be a focused promoter, a promoter of intent. Everyone will promote it, just like all these communication environments. If you like it, you tell people about it. That's promoting. Some do it casually. Those are fans, the way we casually promoted Twitter or Facebook. There's going to be a second group of people within Rippln that we're going to call Rippln players. Players promote with intent. They promote with focus. They promote with a game plan. They promote with a specific purpose in mind, and that's not only to earn points for redeeming for free purchase in the commerce later. They want to get paid for what they create. And there are three ways that we will remunerate the player over the long term. You go from fan to player when you pay license fees. There's a licensing fee to move from fan to player. There's a domestic license, there's an international license. If you have both, you're called a global player. If you just have a domestic license, you're called a domestic player. And the way it works is really simple. If you're domestic, you will have a global Ripple. You'll only be compensated on the bonus qualifying activities within the domestic portion of your Ripple. What is domestic? Whatever country you register in. If you're in the UK, you get paid on the UK activity only. If you're in Mexico, the Mexico activity only. In Japan, the Japan activity only. If you're a global player, you can receive overrides on all of the bonusing activity throughout the whole Ripple. Now, what are the bonus activities that you can be compensated for? There are bonuses for acquiring people to become a part of the Ripple. There are bonuses for acquiring downloads. It's what's called an initial, it's a customer acquisition program. There are bonuses when you acquire people into the Ripple. You have to acquire a minimum of 5 or more fans. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of the details here because all of the details are in the marketing videos that are available that talk about the comp plan. And rather than talking about it here, it's in such depth, it would waste so much time. Instead, let me give you the concept. Then if you have the concept, simply go to the person who invited you, if you've not yet done so, get into the Ripple through a free, you get a code and you go in for free under NDA. You start to simply invite others so that they can be learning as you're learning, and then the videos unlock and you can watch the compensation plan videos where it talks about the things that are rewarded and what they're rewarded for. So there are 3 things that are rewarded: acquiring the downloads. The second thing is that's a one-time initial qualification, initial acquisition bonus, and there are sets of bonuses for that. Next,
Chris, not acquiring the download, acquiring the engaged user. They have to activate.
That's correct. A user has to download it and they have to use it at least once. Now they're engaged. That's an initial acquisition engagement. Then ongoing each month, there are bonuses, smaller bonuses, but it's for the continued engagement of free users. So if you are actually acquiring users the first time who engage the app, that creates initial qualification bonuses that are paid through a structure. Since we've tracked everybody and who's connected to who, there's a compensation model that will pay. Again, what is that? Well, think about it. If companies traditionally are paying $50 to $200 per person, at least initially to get it going, and then that cost drops as you get more of them, we're just simply creating a different compensation model where you can be paid for acquiring some users of the app, because that then virally expands the structure. Every month that they continue to engage and use the app, initially, there's the communicator app, initially using it at least once a month. Later on, as we add commerce areas, any of those participants who are engaging in purchasing or downloading music, or anytime they engage the Ripple environment, they're an active fan. Their engagement bonuses paid monthly based on the active engagement or active fans. And again, the videos will show that. And then long term, as there is the commerce section, and all of those participants, fans, players, all of us as users of the Ripple, as we are purchasing all of our digital downloads. And again, why do we buy them here? Because we can get the same music here, we can get it in iTunes. But here we get points, so we start getting stuff for free. There, we just pay and we get it. So it's the incentivized sharing model here. And so long term, throughout everyone in your Ripple, there's massive amounts of long-term activity. That's the back-end activity. And again, all of the compensation stuff is covered in the overviews that are online. And so let's see, that's some other question that came up. When will the product be released? Right now, the only thing we're doing is we are inviting people at no cost, no risk to come under NDA, and whoever's invitation they accept, that's correct. They're locked to you and you're locked to them forever, because you're the relationship that said, let me send you the invitation. They're simply clicking, using that code, going in under NDA to say, once I'm in here, let me look at the information, let me see what is here. Now, they can evaluate the same way you did. Not interested? No big deal. Why? There are millions who are going to be interested very rapidly. We've gone from 0 to, well, now it's probably closer to 90,000 or 100,000 in just about 5 days. So lots of people are going to want to be interested. The next thing they do is they invite others to take a look. For the next 6 weeks, there is no app. It is simply tracking who's connected to who to invite them to get under NDA to start getting exposed. And then over these weeks, we will continue with more Hangouts and more Hangouts and more Hangouts. Now, here's what's happening now. There are some people who say, I refuse to go under an NDA. I refuse to do anything until I know more. And that's okay. Then they don't need to do that. There are other people, like a 21-year-old kid in Tennessee, who said, you know, I just got the idea. I got it. I don't need to understand everything in the details. And he's 5% of the whole company. Because what's going to happen in the next 6 weeks, everyone that I know, everyone that Lisa knows, and everyone that you know has a chance of being contacted by somebody else, because everybody in my phone is in probably 3,000 or 4,000 other phones. And somebody's going to send them an invitation, and they're going to accept it, and they're going to be tied to that person forevermore. So the question now is, does it make sense, yes or no, to go under NDA, then get the information to make your own decision, and does it also make sense to send invitations to as many as you possibly can so that they can make their own decision? In other words, let's be respectful, treat people with dignity, and say, let us get you access, make up your mind. If you aren't interested, it absolutely doesn't matter. And if you are, then you're connected to the person who invited you out of the respect for the relationship. And it continues. About the end of May, beginning of June is when the app will be released. Everyone who's under NDA, whether they decide Rippln is what they want to do long-term or not, everyone gets the app for free, and they are the first who will be able to download it. That alone's pretty cool. So you're going to get to download the free technology first, and then you can go tell people about it and just enjoy the benefits of getting point credit that you can later spend in the stores when we turn them on.
Curtis?
So no harm, no foul. Yep.
I want to answer some questions that have been asked, and I'm going to answer them. Understand that we, in our Rippln, people are asking about the countries. I want to give you an idea of how wide open the world is. Now, other teams may be moving a little bit differently, but I would have to say they're all pretty indicative of what's going on around the world. Yes, there are thousands of people in the Rippln. Right now, we have about 22,000 in our Rippln. Of that, 15,000 are in the United States. 2,700 are in Canada, and here's my next biggest country. Singapore has 548, the Philippines has 473, the United Kingdom has 419, skipping down the list, Hungary's 165. Somebody asked me about Brazil. I've not seen it yet. It just came on board, I think, for us, like in the middle of the night.
By come on board, it just means somebody finally sent an invitation to somebody in Brazil. That's how it just.
Other people may be there as well, but in our group, Finland has 12. In our group, Bosnia has 8. Ghana has 8. So as you can see, if you're listening to this, the whole world is wide open. But when you move outside of North America, even outside of the United States and Canada, it is literally wide open. And I think it's important to understand that right now, during this process, we're only in English. But when the app comes down, we are going to be multilingual. And what we did decide to do was pick the lingua francas. Other languages will be added, but the initial languages that are going to be there are what we call the lingua francas, which means most people in the world, even if it's not their first language, speak or understand at least one of them. So the lingua francas we're starting with are English, Spanish, Russian, which takes care of most of Eastern Europe at my age. The younger ones not so much, but the others will be coming. Chinese, which in the written form takes care of a lot. And Portuguese, Japanese, and Portuguese they are working on at this moment, but they don't know if they'll have available day one.
As well as French.
As well as French. Those are being worked on as racing toward the deadline, but maybe a little bit more. Now, in the second round, I know we have Korean and Vietnamese. The other languages will be added based on the activity of what shows up in the Rippln, and certainly, and that will dictate to them where to go next.
Exactly.
So all these countries, if you can teach somebody to go through the very basics, get them on board and get them in the Rippln. So in answer to your question, any market that isn't the United States or Canada is pretty wide open.
Sure. And by building that initial infrastructure now, as all those things get turned on, you're able to be in a position to lead that explosion.
I don't know if this question came in before I asked it, but yes, you can go sign up everybody in Russia, and the app will be in Russian. Now, if you're looking to sign up people in China, let me say that China blocks YouTube and blocks Facebook. So when the app is downloaded, now we have a lot of people in China signing up anyway because Hong Kong does not block YouTube, and I say a lot, it's barely started. And Hong Kong has become the shopping mall for mainland China. Plus, you have Chinese speakers all over the world. But when the app comes down, all of the videos and all the information will be on a separate site, not pulling from YouTube and accessible in the China. We've been doing business in China for 12 years. For those of you that don't know, I lived in Hong Kong for 4 years, was based over there. So was Curtis. He was president of a worldwide publicly traded network marketing company. The majority of the business was done in China. We have a huge group there today that's grown out of that original business. This team knows how to do business on the mainland, so we're very excited about that.
Yeah. And so here's in essence what I think the summary is. And by the way, we did it this way, and let me do a quick wrap-up summary, because I know that we've been on this maybe longer, and this has been recorded, and we can do many more. Here's really the sequence if you break it down. And it's very simple: yes, no question, yes, no question, yes, no question. First, we have secrets, we're under NDA, you don't if you're not. We have invitations we'll send you. Would you like to know what we know? Yes or no? Sure. Not saying you're committed, not saying you're doing anything. Would you just like to see what we see? Yes. We'll send you an invitation. Click online, takes 3 minutes, execute the electronic NDA. Now you go get in, you take a look, and you see what you think after we saw what we thought. Number one. Number two, then if you wish to, start inviting people with the same thing. You now have a secret. They don't. You're under NDA. They aren't. Would they like an invitation? Yes, and let it go. That is the only communication that this kid in Tennessee is doing. He is just saying, I have a secret. Would you like to know? Click here. And they're exploding. They're creating the structure. When we turn on the app is free for everyone. And then the question will simply be, just use the app and tell everyone about it. And the viral expansion continues because there's no commerce there yet. There is value in acquiring them. And those who choose to become players can be monetized and rewarded for building this accelerating structure. But here is what's key. In this structure, you may have a lot of people just using the app for free, and someone at the end of the Ripple makes a decision to be monetized. Everyone by the system, you don't have to do it. The system will let everyone know that there is now an opportunity for monetization that could create a financial benefit. They can now choose, do they want to become a part of it as well or not? The system will automatically inform people, and they can make a decision. Do I want to stay free? Do I want to become a part of the monetization? Everything is a simple yes, no question, and leave it up to the crowd to make their decision. If they decide not to, they'll start getting notifications. Here's how much you lost, here's how much you missed, here's how much you missed, here's how much you missed. And at some point in the future, they can say, gee, I don't like this, I think I'll do it now, or not. Everything is driven by simple process. Today, if you're not under NDA, get under NDA. Because how do you start? Get better information, more details, and we'll continue doing these Hangouts, giving more and more information that we're allowed to give under NDA, and then off you go. But if you wait too long, by the time you say, I think I will do that, it could. I had lunch today with someone who had decided he was going to wait a little bit. It's been 5 days. In the last 2 days, he has now gotten calls from so many people that he said, I realized I waited 5 days and some of my key people are already in. I'm ready to go now. That was his decision then. That's his decision now. We left it up to him. So that's what we recommend. Get those NDAs done.
One thing as we get off, because I know we'll do as many of these Hangouts as you guys need. This is go, go, go time, and we're team. Let me share with you the thing that has made myself in my 12-year career and Curtis a great deal of money all over the world. And it's something I pound and pound and pound. Tribes create movements, and crowds create headaches and confusion. We know how to do this. We are all good networkers. Someone on another team, but I like him. I spent some time helping internet marketers, called me last night. I'm going to do training for his team because I'm one team, one dream. A rising tide floats all boats. We'll build a great company. There's plenty for everybody. But he had 1,400 people in his Ripple. But he was 135 wide, and I immediately said to him, and nobody has more than 10, and you're no more than 2 levels deep. And he said, how do you know that? And I said, because I understand how internet marketing works. This isn't a launch, because you'll get one big check, your people won't, and they'll have no back end. So what we know how to do is to take the time, like we're doing here, to get people enough information that they understand what they're creating. Network marketers are brilliant once they catch the vision at being able to build toward that vision as it manifests. Without it, people want to know every little detail of every little thing, when right now, what are we really asking people to do? Fill out a piece of paper so they can get more information, so they can get a free app that will get them a passport to what's going to be the coolest platform in the world. And you know how I know? Because we're all going to be on it, and you're all going to be on it, and all the people that we know that are on our phones are going to be on it. And we're going to build, and Voxer has 250,000 downloads a day right now, because it's a fun way to communicate, not because anybody's paying them. So imagine what we can do if we just keep it simple and we give people the vision. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Curtis. Thanks for being here. Anybody needs to know how to reach us. You can friend us on Facebook. You can please send an email to the AWeber address, because we're building a Google Plus community. Should be up and running by Sunday. That gives you a deadline, Curtis. We're building team sites. They'll be up very soon. And we'll be doing lots of hangouts from MVP team down. Is that what we're called? Name keeps changing. And also,
the MVP team, yes.
Any individual team, if you need us to do one, I love hangouts because they create content and they're recorded forever. But calls, webinars, whatever you need, we'll be there. We don't sleep when it's go time. So
so go ahead and make sure you go send an email to MVP team Rippln at AWeber. You'll get a response. You got to click that response that confirms, and as we then start launching all of our communication, you'll be tied in, and we're going to start doing 3-4 hangouts a day around the clock. So at some point it'll be during a time that's good for you. We'll be the ones who don't sleep for 6 weeks. Wish us the best. Glad to be a part of the team with you, and we'll see you guys next time. Let's see if there's got something bumped through. Is there any last thing? Oh, okay, yeah. Let's do those. Are the licenses will be one-off payments? Yeah, the licenses.
Not annually. Not annually.
Well, here's what it is. Let me do this, and the reason is we've got to be a little careful on the NDA stuff, but because some of this stuff is in the video, and once you can get there, you're okay. There is a small annual fee that is just it's a registration fee, so that if at the end of the year if someone doesn't renew, the system doesn't remove anybody, not in this one. It just converts them from a player back to just a free participant. They stay in the same spot, they're just a different status. There are 2 license fees. There is a domestic license fee, one time for life. The domestic license fee is $300. If you you don't have to do them at the same time. You can do just the domestic license. You are in the Rippln, you are in the monetization, and off you go, and you can start earning. Then there's an international upgrade license, one time for life, $600. You don't have to do that at first. You can start domestic, start to grow. Think about it. Our Ripple's 20,000, 15,000 of them are in the U.S. Why? Just about everybody knows more people in their city and around the block than they do around the world. So they can start to monetize quickly and immediately move up. Those are the only one-time fees, and you're done. Once you have both licenses, you're a global player for life. That never changes. There is a monthly Rippln cloud maintenance. It's just the software services and the ongoing system maintenance. It's $50 a month. And so those are all the licenses and the fees to be in the Rippln. We do not pay commission when people pay those fees. Instead, we pay bonuses when they go out and they acquire free people to download the app. The acquiring and expanding of the Rippln creates bonuses. Those bonuses are, of course, paid out of the revenues. And when you acquire those 5 free fans, you just need 5 or more. It's not per 5, but 5 or more. There are initial acquisition bonuses that are paid from $150 to $520 total that are paid through the Rippln. And the details of how that happens is in the back. So it's a simple plan. It's a very simple program. You either choose to become a player or not. You can start small and go big. It's one-time license fees. Then as you acquire people, you can earn initial bonuses, and then there are monthly maintenance or qualification bonuses, and all that is described in those initial overviews, okay? So those are the costs. It's literally 2 license fees one time. You can start with a small one, go to the big one 2 days, 2 months, 2 years later, whatever you'd like to do. If you only have a domestic license, you only get paid on the domestic activity. If you have a global license, you get paid on all activity in your entire Rippln that is qualifying and bonusable activity, okay? Here's a breakdown. For people who are network marketing-ish, here's the breakdown. Whatever you choose to be, domestic only and later international, or you want to start at global, where for example, if you start at global, if 5 people over time that you have personally invited have done what you've done, you have all of that expense back, all of it, and everything's profitable. However, that's just based on what you do. If others are doing things, your immediate bonus overrides from their activities on the upfront alone, you can recoup that without having to do it all yourself very fast. This kid in Tennessee, after 5 days, has 4,000 people globally in 32 countries. His monetization is going to be instantaneous. He's going to have no problem. That's what the next 6 weeks is. somebody starting from scratch 6 weeks from now or a year from now or 2 years from now. When they choose to become a player and get into the monetization side, their return is so simple and so quick because all they're doing is offering people an opportunity to get a great product for free, take advantage of great incentivized and rewarded commerce, and if they choose to participate as well, the overrides, it is the simplest way for people to be successful. Bottom line, this is not complicated. It is human nature. Experience it, tell people about it, make a decision if you'd like to participate, and when others do it automatically, it happens very quickly. So as you see more on the details of the plan that will be released closer to the launch date, you'll understand it. So those are the costs that are involved. Again, you can start small, go big, it's all up to you. I can see Boris is typing right now. I want to see before we cut this off. Do you need, let's see, do you need both? Or no. The two licenses, his question is, do you need both? The two licenses are separate. There is a $300 domestic license. There's an international upgrade license. So if you want to be global, it'll be $900 for both. That's one time and you're done. However, you don't have to do it at the same time. You can start domestic and then you can upgrade later. And then and that's correct. Because those are one time and done. And once you see the plan, if you have any group of people doing anything, that can be returned very rapidly. The monthly cost to stay active as a player is $50, and there is no other requirement to go all the way. Huh?
For global Rippln maintenance.
Yeah, the Rippln cloud maintenance is $50, and that's it. Okay, that's it. There's no other complexity. And then after that, you just buy the stuff you want to buy. They buy the stuff they want to buy, and because you're a player, you get overrides as well.
Or if you're a fan, you earn the stuff you want to earn with badges and games and everything else.
Yeah, exactly. Fans earn like frequent flyer points that they can redeem. You earn the same thing plus money. So.
And with that, guys, we're going to sign off, but we'll be available for a lot more of these. It will be up on my YouTube channel, which nobody ever goes to because this is not the one I normally use, but we're going to use it for this. But I will send the link to the webinar, to this Hangout, to Boris and Sarah within the hour, and then you can send it out to whoever missed it, okay? Thanks so much, and I hope you got most of your questions answered. And the next time we'll have you guys up here with us. You can be asking them to us as we talk out to your groups. But this was thrown together very quickly because your leadership over there wanted you to have answers as fast as possible so that you could grow your businesses big and strong. So,
and trust me, you're going to learn a lot more in the next 6 weeks. Yeah, let's just keep doing these and inviting people to them and having some fun. We made
up for in enthusiasm what we lacked for in preparedness. And when you see the recording of this, the beginning of it is me live trying to figure out the text. So tell people, no, it is not an American comedy about a girl who's a techno idiot. It's actually about Rippln. Thanks so much for being on board, and we'll see you all soon.
All right, guys. Thanks, guys. Yeah, much appreciated. You too. Talk to you later.